Setting trends in fashion can be difficult. It takes a real gift to make something old, new again. In Lusaka, we found a designer doing it with flair by combining the best that Africa and the West have to offer.
Okay, you have to change the zip. I'm an African woman, but I live in a very Western world. I think in Africa, we're kind of living in two worlds. There's the African world, that's us, and then there's the European world. So I wanted something that described me.
I'm loving my curves.
Hi, I'm Towani Clarke. I'm a fashion designer from Zambia, and this is my Africa.
Towani is the mastermind behind Kutowadesingnes, a company she started in 2009.
So I thought we could have a look at the fabric.
I like everything I see because I really like bright colors. I think that helps bring out my personality. But I see something in particular that I like, which is this one over here.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite too.
Which looks brilliant.
Towani is a product of two continents, of people from two different places. My mother is Zambian, born and bred here in Zambia, and my dad is English and was born there and found himself in Zambia, found himself in Africa. He basically was a young man, 20 years old, took a break from school, and he had to get off where the train ended because his money ran out. So he got out at Chidilabombwe and fell in love with Africa and came back and met my mom. I'm gonna take this one. Huh? The manje. So you take that one in front.
Clarke says her unique background informs her approach to fashion design, a fusion of African and European aesthetics.
When I was born, Grandma called me, Agogo called me Towani, which basically means to be so bright and beautiful, you dazzle. The root of my name is Kutowa, and this is why I named my label Kutowa. Kutowa is bright and beautiful because it's a clash, it's a mix of two worlds.
Clarke says her brand is part of an African renaissance, where women from the continent are proudly reclaiming their culture.
The curve in African backside is like up, so you find the back of the skirt lifts, so you have to create some other dots on the other side.
Today, Clarke is shopping for traditional Chitenge material for a client.
Beautiful. The inspiration was my mum, actually. My mother is a feminist, Sarah Longway, and she travels and she's traveled a lot, and she still travels now around Africa to the various countries, and she would bring us these lovely pieces of fabric. So like the Ankara fabric from Nigeria, lovely tie and dye from Mali, and then she'd gift it to us as daughters. And then somehow I just became the daughter that designed stuff for myself and stuff for my sisters. If you can do that, I think everything else is fine. Because I like this one because I can wear it at yoga as well.
7 years after starting Kutowa, Clarke employs 10 people, 5 of them tailors.
I'm the designer, they're the tailors.
Her workspace comprises of a storefront, workshop and studio.
We don't throw them. This is actually a little gold mine. We make little bags, you know. I can't stand plastic, you know, it doesn't biodegrade and it doesn't look very good. So instead of buying plastics, we make little bags out of these offcuts and we give them to our clients so that they can walk away. We're going to have it round here like this.
Amidst the demands of design, she finds her center through another passion, yoga.
It's a really interesting dynamic between yoga and design, and in some strange way they actually feed off each other. I realize that a lot of creative people do yoga. I think it helps relax you and puts you in the zone that you're open to the creative forces. It has a huge impact on my life. I mean, I earn my living from it, from both of them, so it sustains me, literally. Do you feel relaxed? So now what we're going to do, stay hanging forward. When I have time, I love to come down to be by these pools. I think we've become so urban that we're getting out of touch with nature. And when we get out of touch with nature, we're also losing touch with ourselves. Just listening to the water flow and looking into the pools, it calms me down. It adds something to me, and it helps me come into myself and find myself. And it's almost the total opposite from Comesa Market where we were, where it's noisy and there's lots of people. I feel that living in both the design noisy world and this karma yogic world just gives me balance, and I'm a more balanced people because I have these two sides of my work and these two sides of myself that actually get fed, and each one helps the other. So after being more relaxed and maybe having a moment of inspiration, I'm able to bring that into the creative side. Now we're going to reverse. Inhale, back, exhale.
Through yoga and fashion, Clarke professes a bold vision of 21st century Africa, at once forward-thinking, modern, and deeply rooted in tradition.
Why can't an African label be a coveted label in Paris or in New York? Why can someone in the high society of New York say, I'm wearing a kutowa? So it's really for things to go the other way. I think this is the time for Africa to export and to go out. In the past, we've really been a consumer.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Zanana. But let other people also see and enjoy what we have to offer, because I think people are ready for something new, are ready for something different.